hear me?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
I'm not echoing.
No, shouldn't be.
What up, TP?
What's going on? Oh, hold on, let me get my shit fixed. Bro, what is going on?
Can you guys hear me? I think I lost Marlo. Oh, he back. Oof.
I have a funky echo. I don't hear it no more.
Oh, okay.
I just finished working out too.
Okay, we lost TP.
Like he was having some difficulties.
Uh,
Told y'all problem. Told y'all.
what did you tell us, Marlo?
I
What
told
did
y'all
you tell us?
Boston was a problem. Dallas ain't never seen a team that can defend without helping. In trouble. I should hang a damn broom up behind me. Everybody know what that means.
My my brother. That would be bad form.
But true. But true. One team superstar is a crybaby thinking he supposed to get shown extra preferential treatment playing against two bona fide superstars. Man, set your ass down somewhere.
I mean, tell us how you really feel, Marlo. Oh, there we go. That's better.
I'm just saying.
You ain't saying, you just saying.
But really look at it. Tatum and Brown really haven't got off yet. Like they really haven't had that game to be like, oh shit, these dudes cooking. but they done locked everybody else down on on Dallas team. Nobody's seeing this shit. This is just crazy.
Well, sir, I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, I am gonna get my money. And it ain't even about the money. We could have bet 50 cents. I need some I need some dollars. And then I need you to say you was right.
That's all it's really about for you.
That's it.
You just want to hear our.
All right, I'm in. I don't know what the fuck just happened. My computer, it froze for like a whole 5 minutes. I was just sitting there looking like, but hey, we in here.
Yeah, I'm
What's
checking
that?
my email now. Make sure.
Big fan.
What's the haps on the craps?
Hey, Miss.
Hey, is our man showing up?
I am checking my email now. I am checking now to make sure.
Word.
So the wonderful thing about this software
Mm-hmm.
is that it seems, because I'm the host, it seems like it's freezing and behind, but when I look at it on my phone, everything is fine. Well, it's
Okay.
kind of crazy.
I hope you're not too upset with what I'm wearing today.
So I'm not even. I'm not even. Mm-mm.
Hilarious.
Come on, Marlo. This was one of the greats, man. R.I.P. Sean Taylor, bro.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
He was
Sean
that
Taylor. Man,
cat.
I had this jersey specially made because I couldn't find it nowhere.
Damn. That's what's up.
Because I knew one day, I would get to piss off Troy. The
Worth it.
manifestation is real.
Worth it. That is funny.
You shouldn't live like that. You should not live your life like that.
It's terrible. Nah, we here.
I know. I wonder. Can y'all hear that? Can y'all hear that music?
Yes, sir.
Nope. Okay. You heard the music?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Yes.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait. Please don't tell me. Please tell me. Please. I just need one. I just need one. I just need one. I
One
just
what?
need one drop to work.
Oh,
Just one.
Fuck Tom Brady.
that worked.
Are we back? Did you
That
hear?
one worked.
Okay. Yeah, we got.
I don't think we ever left. And neither has your hate.
Because like for real, it's Mr. Beuerlein, because remember he's on California time and it's just now 5 o'clock there. So we'll give him some little leeway. Some little leeway.
It is.
Um
It is. I had to rush home.
I can't
Be
do
having
that right now.
I be neglecting responsibilities to get on stream on time. Stuff that would have normally been done for hours.
Yeah.
It's happening right now.
I don't.
We
Well,
gonna have to
I'm afraid
send your wife
to
some
ask
flowers.
Man.
for real. Hang on a second. Oh,
I don't think we
I feel
reached the
like
moving furniture segment of the show
I'll be.
yet.
I feel like I'll be getting TP in trouble. I do.
Nah, you can't get a
Or
grown man in trouble.
I don't intentionally get him. Okay, good. All right.
Says
Well,
that then looks
while
over
we
shoulder. Fuck I look like getting
Oh
in
man.
trouble.
Checking the dough.
I
Right.
just want. You know what? She got the kids right now. So she ain't really in the chat. Kids ain't sleeping. I feel you, TP. I feel you.
No, I
I
know
100% feel you.
Nope.
she downstairs. It's dinner time, so I'm good.
See. Well, we'll go. We 12 minutes in. We'll go ahead. You know what? We ain't did in a long time. You know what we did a long time. Oh man, it's different, but it's new. But it's still the same old. Gathering old man podcast. Myself, TP Marlo. I believe this Beuerlein is on the way. We're gonna get into it. Good news. It feels so man. I ain't heard that sound in a long time. And I ain't gonna lie, I was talking cash to Restream. Cash it to Restream because they didn't let me get my drops. Hold on one second, y'all. Hold on one second.
We live, y'all. Any fucking thing can happen.
We out here. We
Yes.
outside this summer. That's what
And
I
it's hot.
heard. I heard
And
we
it's hot.
outside this summer, but it was 114 out there today, man.
Woo!
114. Pray for TP, man. Pray for
God.
TP
Yeah,
because
they would have been
it
like,
is.
get outside. Nope. Go. Leave the AC.
Shit,
It
it ain't that much cooler inside the building.
That's
AC
crazy.
halfway work. Getting all that government
You know
money,
what?
and our AC don't work.
That's
Man, but what do you do?
You know what it is. They found out you was gonna wear that jersey.
Nah. Lies.
They said this one for Troy.
Man, you already know who the GOAT was.
Right now, Brian Lott.
I mean, I feel
You already
like
won. If you can't play a
we
game with 4 fingers,
we were robbed. My man was robbed of his life, and we were robbed of being able to see him play out his career.
absolutely, absolutely. I'm not. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I was hoping Mr. Beuerlein was here. He would be here by now, but that's okay. We're gonna go ahead and get started. Um, let's get right on top of it. Jerry West. I know we normally talk about basketball on other podcasts, but the logo, not not the silhouette, not the inspiration to the logo. Um, we lost the logo this week. Um, condolences to him and his family. Um, probably, I'm gonna say he was the greatest competitor in basketball history because how do you go to the NBA Finals 9 times and don't win, and only win one? And he told everybody it took a toll on him. It took a toll on how he felt about the game. Like it just when he retired, he just couldn't do it no more. So, um, man, rest in peace. One of the great ones, man. Oh man.
I
Just,
mean, like when
hey,
we
you know
think
what I thought
about it,
about?
what's that?
Oh, and I'm delayed. So for everybody's wondering, for some reason my audio is delayed. But when I think about it, it is one, JJ Redick ain't talking crazy to him
Mm-mm.
or about him. So,
What he
but
gonna say?
two, the man was the greatest. He ain't gonna play him 1-on-1.
Mm.
Jerry was better than him at 80. So,
I
but
feel like
again,
for
shout
the
out to the logo.
the growth of the sport, Jerry West played a very huge role in that. Especially with the Lakers in that time. You know, just trying to grow the game in a time where baseball was pretty much king in the United States. Basketball was probably third to baseball and football. And the things that he was able to do, there's a reason they chose him as the logo, because of everything that he was able to accomplish, you know, all the trips to the championship, whether it be with a win or not. He had a great career. He was a great player and a great pioneer for the game. And he will be missed.
An ambassador for the game.
Absolutely.
Like hell, I think he might have did more for the game after he played than when he played.
This is true. This is true. Because he's not remembered, as a champion. He's remembered as somebody that, well, like you said, was an ambassador for the game.
Yeah.
Lobbied for the game of basketball to be more on the prime time scene.
Yeah. So I just say,
Man,
all right, H.
now, now that we've we've talked about Jerry and Marlo while we were getting set up, wanting to talk about his win.
It ain't my
Um,
win. It's a win for good basketball. It ain't just my win.
just so we like on the same page, just so we on the same page. You said you just need them to know that you was right.
Absolutely. I was talking about me winning the bet. But I'm talking about the Boston Celtics and how they're playing. Like this makes me interested in NBA basketball again. All that other product that they put on the court is trash to me. Like
Mm.
they have gotten so far away from what basketball really is. Like half of the moves that these dudes make, it would be if they blew a whistle every time someone traveled, carried, committed a foul, committed a push off, with 5 hours long. These dudes are horribly and inadequate in the actual performance of the rules of basketball. But Boston has put on a performance like I don't care who you are, whoever in front of you, that's who guard you. Ain't no help, ain't no like they. All right, guard them. All that lob crap is out the window. So Dallas is now a one-dimensional walk up the floor, slow the ball down, because they got Luke on the floor. Like
Yeah,
they've been exposed.
they have been exposed, and I don't think Gafford is playing nowhere near to the level that he had in every series prior. I think he
Because
had 16 minutes and 5 points last night. Who you beating like that, and that's your big man? They had nobody outside of PJ Washington as a big man, who I barely consider a big man, only because he's
yeah,
a forward, but he's 6'7". He's not a big. They had no other big play more than 16 minutes.
because they
Who are
was
you gonna
trying
beat?
trying to pick up the tempo and couldn't because Luca demanded the ball. Even though Kyrie was cooking, that dude
Hmm.
was cooking yesterday, and then he just ain't had no help. Like when your number three score of the regular season has 20 minutes and 0 points, rebounds, zero assists, that's horrible.
And can we talk about Luka Doncic being a cone?
Yeah,
He's a warm up cone out there.
because
They
he
just
can't
go around.
move.
They just go around him. It was hard to watch because he actually played well in games prior to that defensively, and ultimately that foul that they called on him, I'm not sure if it was a block or a charge. But when you got 5 fouls, you've already been moving out the way. You might well move out the way right then.
Thank you. I said that to everybody who listened. I was like, he has no end of game basketball IQ. Like in the fourth quarter, he disappears.
Yeah.
He has disappeared in this entire series.
And
Like
you
you
can't
can't.
sit there and expect the refs to bail you out when you put yourself in a very disadvantageous situation,
Yeah,
because that's one of those calls that can go either way. We can argue that it was a charge, but others can argue that it was a block, and neither would be wrong. That was such in the gray area. You can't be mad that the refs actually called a blocking foul.
that to me, this is just to me. If you are the star of your team and it was already people back, why jump in front of the best? I'm gonna say it, the best player on the other team. Now, if
Hmm.
this was White, if this was, you know, one of the other guys other than a superstar, he might have got that charge call.
Right.
But not against the superstar, the highest paid player in the NBA.
Ain't gonna happen, cuz.
That ain't happening. That's just crazy. So
But
yeah,
they are one away from Broom City.
I love it.
If there was any a time in your life to bet the bag on Dallas Mavericks, this would be the time because I can really see this being a gentleman's sweep and Boston finishing this off on their home court
Nah,
with Porzingis coming back for one more game
Boston ain't built
despite the injury.
like if you look
It's
at
over.
Boston coach, he's 35 years old. This is
Yeah,
done.
he young.
It's over.
He younger than me.
Like it ain't nothing he missed in his game prep.
Yeah,
Like that,
I
it's
agree.
just, and he got these dudes. All of them are bought in.
Hmm.
Everybody's bought in. So I don't know what they got to do to go ball, but they
I
can't slow
mean,
him down in the half court. They can't
we
get
got
down and run with him.
16. We got 16 from Derek White last night. Troy, how you feel about that? Crickets.
I told y'all, Derek White has been playing this series. He's been playing this series. I told y'all that. Like them 12 points career average, okay. He been balling. But can we acknowledge that Luka cannot play a lick of defense? Why are you taking charges when you can't stop people from driving to the hole? If
That's
you
his
can't stay in front of
defense.
somebody, you can't take a charge.
That's his defense.
Marlo, I said on this show, I was like, I said, man, he been playing good defense because he was taking charges. And then he got around some dudes who really could drive to the hole.
I mean, Jaylen Brown
I
and
don't.
Jason Tatum did what you expect two superstars to do. They both dropped 30.
Yeah.
That's what we expect from Kyrie and Luka. I told y'all it would be 60 versus 60 and then role players. And if you look on the other side, Kyrie had 35, Luka had 27. That's still 60. So they got their 62 points from your two stars. Where is everybody else? Whether or not that was a charge, a block, where are the rest of the Dallas Mavericks? That is the question. You can't put it all on Luka when him and Kyrie combined for 62 points. Because if stars are battling stars, it was 61 points for Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum versus 62 with Luka and Kyrie. That's star versus star. Where's the rest of the team at?
Well, I told
Get me out.
everybody who listened, Boston got people who can score the ball all over the floor.
Yeah.
And that's a problem.
Hear me out. Just give me a second. Hear me out. If you got a dude that is getting all the shine and playing none of the defense, and for all the stuff we said about Kyrie playing defense, he played better defense than Luka did the entire series. Like, I can't sit here and be like, oh man, these other dudes, they ain't hooping. They was never like that. They needed help creating their shot. That's why they was talking about, oh, they're getting all these lives back door and all, because they not hooping. They're very good defensive off the ball defenders. You drive by Luka, 9 times out of 10, they can come up, clean up the glass. Well, when you got stretch fours and stretch fives, ain't no help. You ain't helping. Because as soon as you help, you saw all the role players from Boston got off threes.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, stop calling Luka a superstar. Stop it. He not.
I mean, he is.
It's just
He
He's
is. We can't
star.
disrespect. We
He's
can't disrespect.
a star scorer of the ball.
He's a superstar.
Yeah.
If he's a superstar, nobody told the refs.
He still has been averaging 30 and almost a triple double in the playoffs.
Yeah,
that is superstar status. I get it. He's not the best defensively. We've all come to understand that about European players is they're not the best when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. But you can't deny his superstar status because of that.
No, he's
Because
definitely is a great offensive player.
would you ever have considered Dennis Rodman a superstar?
Yeah.
Yes.
It didn't play a lick of offense.
This Rodman can actually get bucket.
Come on, he was a career
Let's not do
11
that.
point. He was a
Rodman
career
plays
11 point per game guy. So no, you said he get buckets. So what's the difference with Derek White? Because Derek White averaged more points than him.
We put Derek White and Dennis Rodman in the same sentence. That's what we're doing now.
You said he get buckets. He averaged 11 points a game. He was not their offense. He was not an elite offensive player, but he was a superstar because of his ability to play defense and rebound.
Okay, but unlike Ben Wallace, he could shoot free throws, and you can get if he needed to get some buckets, he got some buckets.
That's why I didn't use Ben Wallace. Ben Wallace was a 42% free throw shooter. It don't get no worse than that.
42%.
We did this. I didn't come on here shooting at Ben Wallace. TP started it. So all you little Ben Wallace fans, little Detroit people, I don't want to hear your mouth.
You brought Ben Wallace up, sir.
I didn't say nothing. You brought him up, and his free throw percentage.
Because he's the comp to Dennis Rodman. I mean, Derek White is not a comp to Dennis Rodman.
Okay.
There isn't a comp.
But that's not the issue. That's not the issue. The issue is no, undersized, underweight, power forward ever did what he did.
For as long as he's did.
Never. Maybe Angel Reese has an opportunity to do that.
That's it. That's in the WNBA.
That ain't in the NBA.
You said nobody was an undersized forward that did what Dennis Rodman could do? We just gonna forget about Charles Barkley standing 6'5"? We just said fuck Charles Barkley, huh? He wasn't that dude because he didn't win a ring.
Charles, he came in the league 300 pounds.
Well, you just said it was nobody that could do it.
Charles came into the league weighing 300 pounds.
Okay.
Undersized and underweight. Dennis wasn't 255. He wasn't 260. Dennis was farm strong. That's what Dennis was.
Yeah, but that's all right though.
I gotta sit here and argue this with a dude wearing a Miami.
Yeah, you do.
Hey, everybody listen. I fully had expected Steve Beuerlein to show up. I don't know what happened. I've tried to contact him. Haven't heard anything. So if he shows up, we'll keep rolling. But show must go on. The show must go on because Marlo, you missed it Tuesday night. Sunrise had an Edmonton Oiler in the headlock.
Yeah.
And it wasn't pretty. It wasn't
well.
pretty. And the Edmonton, he tapped.
Edmonton's still in Canada, right? Sunrise still in South Florida, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was not going to be a win for that situation at all anyway. First of all, the problem is when you got people in 90-degree weather
You had a
all the time, and they playing hockey. When they on that ice, they in paradise, cause they know when they leave, they gotta be in the heat. So they going out there. If you, what's that song? Nuck. If you buck, you, okay. Mess around and find out. Oilers. We do it different down south. That's all. I'm just glad the Florida Panthers gonna win the Stanley Cup.
Wow.
Cause I could say my Lightning lost to the Stanley Cup champion. I take my victories where I can get them.
We don't celebrate losing to Sunrise.
Yeah, you do. If they came and downright beat our ass, I ain't, shit. I'm a realist. When we went down those couple games, it was gonna be a problem. And then they goaltender out there, like he got fucking a force field over the net. Know how the hell this motherfucker got a spidey sense? That's that. You know what? You right, Troy. The goddamn Florida Panthers are cheating. They are not supposed to have a fucking Avenger in goal, but playing against regular people. This bitch is an Avenger. I'm telling you.
The other night, this was the shot on goal the other night. 27-7, and it was 1-1. You can't win like that. You can't. You not even get shots on goal.
First of all, it's basically not a shot on goal because when they do get it in the zone, I guess they forget how to take shots, or that defense is just they them. Because them motherfuckers ain't even getting shots off. That's crazy.
I feel like Edmonton's scared.
Yeah.
Scared of what though?
I feel like they scared. They just got choked out.
Hey, that man definitely got choked out on live TV.
And they don't even care. They choking people out here. Ref, you ain't gonna stop it.
Oh,
you ain't gonna stop it.
Getting choked out.
The ref don't even
actually
care.
Crazy.
In front of your mama, your kids.
They're
yeah.
It's actually crazy.
Now your wife get to talk crazy and reckless to you at the house. You wasn't saying that when that dude had you in the headlock.
Hey, don't make me go get Steve from Hey man, fuck Steve. Hey, don't make me go get him.
Oh man, listen.
You on that bullshit.
Listen. I'll get them congrats when they actually win it, which ain't gonna be too many more matches from now.
I was gonna say,
Marlo, I'm gonna tell you something that I heard today that might be crazy. The Big 12 is mulling naming rights for the conference.
I wish I was rich.
For 60. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go back.
The who?
The Big 12.
Yeah,
I
wish I was Big
rich.
12
Oh, I wish I was rich. Cause they wouldn't be big no more. It'll be Dickens. And it'll be Dickens 12.
So you gonna
Start
take the
your
big?
Hold on.
You gonna take the
Yeah.
big off?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Start y'all
Right.
broadcast
We trying to
with
keep
that.
it PG. I get it. I ain't
I'm
say
just
nothing,
saying.
Joy. I promise.
Oh, no, I just because we're media now, we're trying to clean up our act.
What? My last
But
name is Dickens.
looking at these numbers,
I ain't gonna
no,
lie. Big
looking at the
12,
numbers,
Big 12 viewership
they
is
talk
about
about
to be
upwards of
in.
$1 billion.
It's about to be in
They
the
better be
trash. It ain't
glad
gonna
I
be
ain't rich.
worth $1 billion.
They better
It
be
ain't.
glad I ain't rich. I'll be going
What
down
team?
with the ship.
What
I
teams are
change the
left in the
name
Big
every
12?
week.
What they stole some Pac 12 teams, right? Ain't Colorado back in the Big 12? So I guess we can
Mm-hmm.
have some, the circus that's going on down there in Boulder. You can add that into the Big 12 controversy. I guess that's a storyline. Where did Utah go? Did Utah go to the Big 12 or did they go to the Big 10? Because they went somewhere.
I think Utah went to the Big 12. I think they went to the Big 12.
Utah went Big 12? Okay.
Yeah.
Because as we know, the Pac 12 is now the Pac 2.
So,
They got two teams. Media right deal out the window. Arizona State, I believe, went to the Big 12 as well.
it. Mm-hmm. Geographically, it makes sense
For who?
with them schools being close together. It makes sense
For
They got
Colorado.
for
Arizona.
Utah, Colorado State, Colorado. Those are all in.
They're near each other, but
I'll
they
read them
ain't
off for
near the
y'all.
other Big 12 teams. Well, I guess the Big 12 is moving west.
Hell, they got Arizona. They got Arizona State, Brigham, Florida, University of Cincinnati, Colorado, University of Houston, Iowa State, University of Kansas State, Oklahoma State, TCU, Texas Tech, University of Utah, and West Virginia.
Yeah, they're all over the fucking place.
That is insane.
Okay, so the core.
There is nothing
The core
geographic.
makes sense.
There's no core.
Who is the core?
Right. The core teams are the teams that been in the Big 12, which is Texas Tech, Baylor, West Virginia. These are core what you call it? Cincinnati came over from Conference USA or the fucking whatever they renamed that shit to. U
So
of
did
H
UCF.
also and UCF. They all came from what used to be Conference USA. I forgot what they changed the name to because it was so ass. But
Yeah,
y'all know
it
what I
was
mean.
something stupid.
I remember Conference USA, just like I remember the Big East before there
Yeah.
was an ACC. See,
Oh,
that's
they
what.
changed it to the AAC. That's what it was.
See,
The AAC.
see, this is what I remember right here. When Sean Taylor wore his jersey, it was the Big East. You know what I'm saying? That's what I remember.
Oh my god. The disgust on his face.
That was back when y'all was letting dudes like Matt Ryan
Oh
cook
really?
y'all was getting cooked by Matty Ice at BC.
Oh wow.
Whew.
That hit different.
Are you done?
Are you done?
Is Wayne Brady going to have the bitch?
2 chops to the throat.
Laugh.
But back to what we was talking about.
what?
The geographically speaking,
In this respect, say,
the Big 12 does not make sense. Just like the Big 10 is starting to
That's
not make sense.
that was like the MEAC. FAMU and Bethune-Cookman being in the MEAC. We
Yep.
got to travel to up north to Virginia and Delaware and all them parts that play them schools in the MEAC.
What does
Didn't
the
make sense.
E in MEAC stand for?
Mid-Atlantic or Mid-East Atlantic Conference.
Y'all in the Southeast.
Very.
We need a SEAC for FAMU and Bethune. Can we get a SEAC, please? There's enough teams. You could throw Jackson State in there.
It's enough HBCUs in Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Louisiana
To make a SEAC.
to make its own conference.
Yep. The SEAC, the Southeastern Atlantic Conference. There you go. See how easy that was? Talking about some damn naming rights. Y'all would have changed the Big 12 to something else because it ain't 12 teams in it, so the name don't make sense.
They don't.
Just like the Big 10 don't make sense. Y'all got 20 teams.
That's crazy.
See, the SEC good because they can add as many teams as they want. It won't matter. Southeastern Conference.
It's a
What'd you say, Trey?
oh wait, plot twist. The Big 12 is in discussions with private. It's I'm a little behind, y'all. Please forgive me. The Big 12 is in discussions with private equity firm CVC Capital Partners.
Mm-hmm.
If them people give y'all $1 billion, they gonna want their money back. We might see the Big 12 get foreclosed on.
Why would you invest $1 billion in a conference that your return on your money isn't looking like it's a possibility? Like, what would be their motivation for putting that amount of money for naming rights? Like, a Billy? What product are they pushing to put a bill on a name? Like, it
don't make sense.
Back to is actually crazy to say.
And I said earlier, I was like, well, and this was when I thought they was getting like $70 million a year or something like that. I was like, well, the SWAC can get 4 years for $60 million from Progressive.
True.
That's a win-win.
This is true.
But again, that's from Progressive, not some private equity firm. No, Nelly. You know what, Marlo? You know they retired your boy Number, right?
Which boy?
Fuck Tom Brady.
It's gonna be a lot of that shit. They're probably gonna retire him
Tom
at the
Brady.
Bucks.
Fuck Tom Brady.
That's a whole lot of hate there.
I just wanted to be known. It's not even.
Ain't
It
it?
ain't a whole lot of hate. What did Tom Brady do that Brad Johnson did?
Win 7 Super Bowls.
Somebody, anybody. Tell me what Tom
Win
Brady did that Brad Johnson didn't do.
win 7
He
Super
just-
Bowls.
At
Take
the
a team
Bucks.
to the Super.
What did he do
Take-
at the Bucks that Tom Brady didn't do?
Take a team to the Super Bowl your first year. The NFC championship game the next. Then to the playoffs this year.
Hold on.
Mhm.
Hold on.
I'm just
Hold on. I think
You think
not
what?
not that Brad Johnson. That's the wrong Brad Johnson.
But I say the Brad Johnson I remember won a Super Bowl.
I hit the wrong Brad Johnson. I need to see.
And it was
Yeah,
against
the Brad Johnson I remember got to the Bucks, showed up to the Bucks, and went to
the Brad Johnson I remember beat your Raiders in the Super Bowl.
the Brad Johnson I remember had one of the best defenses in the NFL history playing on the other side of the ball.
That did that too. With Hall of Famer Rondé Barber.
Marlo. You are correct. Brad.
Hall of Famer Rondé Barber.
How many passing yards did Brad Johnson have in the Super Bowl?
I didn't. I didn't.
No, you asked
don't know.
what the difference,
I don't
but
know.
you do know Tom Brady had in the Super Bowl.
Actually, I don't, but I'm sure you're gonna tell us.
No, I'm
Fuck
just
Tom Brady.
To be honest, Tom Brady's Super Bowl stats ain't that crazy.
Only when he played like Atlanta.
I mean, that's because they were down 28-3 and threw the ball 40 times because they had to. But outside of that, the rest of his Super Bowl wins, his stats weren't crazy. Maybe
No, he
teetered
just
the line of 300 yards. You know what I mean? Game-winning drive at the end of it. He did enough to win.
yeah.
But they did right by Tom Brady. They retired his number. They gave him a great send off for what he did for New England. I mean, like it was an all around good celebration. I don't think the Bucks should do that.
No, they will.
You know,
I think we got
that's just
that hang. Even
last thing we
putting
need to do on the
John
tree.
Gruden in the Ring of Honor and had to take his name off the Ring of Honor. I don't know any teams that do that. But he did retire a Buccaneer.
You sure he didn't sign a one-day with the Patriots?
He did.
No,
he
still
did. He
No, he signed a one-day.
Yeah, no, he didn't sign a one day.
You say he didn't?
He did?
I
I don't think he signed him.
I don't think he could because he still was under contract with the Bucks. We still taking that salary
Oh,
kid.
okay. Yeah.
Now, they probably went ahead and be like, all right. Go
Yeah.
but
I don't
yeah,
know. He did the majority of his career with the Patriots. Played a couple
absolutely.
seasons with you guys. Brought them a championship, which they hadn't seen since 2003.
4
It was
or 3.
it was '04.
Yeah.
Was it
Well,
the '03-'04 season?
yeah.
That one. That was the last time Tampa Bay had saw the Super Bowl, let alone a championship. They hadn't seen the Super Bowl. Pretty
Yeah.
bad years with Sean King, and then going into the whole Jameis Winston era. Ryan Fitzpatrick.
We
Fitzpatrick did what
had
he always did. He come in, get you a couple wins, and
we had a
everybody
few.
starts riding. They start riding the Fitz Magic train, and then that motherfucker goes off the rail faster than you can try to spell Fitz Magic.
That's Marlo quarterback.
No, it ain't.
Don't
That's
trust them
Marlo
Ivy.
quarterback.
He was
Don't
he,
trust them Ivy
he,
League quarterbacks.
He was a Buck.
he was a Bucks, but he never was supposed to be a starter.
You say he was a
He
what?
came.
You say he was a what?
But he ended
I said he was a Buck, but he never was supposed to be a starter.
Oh. That man played for every team
Hey
in the
man.
NFL.
Speak
He played for the Texans, the Jets, the Bills, uh, Washington, the
Miami.
Rams, Miami, the Bengals. Bruh played for everybody.
His jersey
And it was the
collection
same
is probably silly.
and it was the same story every time. Every
again.
time.
He played good for like 7 games on every team.
That's what I said. He'll give you the same story every time. And then next thing you know, disappears on you. Where did he go? Nobody knows. Where are thou?
Rode off into the sunset. You
Look,
know
they hit him
what?
with
TP,
the "Where art thou?" because they could not find him. The Romeo and Juliet.
look. TP, we ain't did this in a long time. But it's been some contract news out of Jacksonville.
Oh shit.
Okay.
Get money.
Trevor Lawrence,
Get money.
5 years,
Get money.
$275 million.
Get money.
But he ain't gonna make the playoffs.
Get money.
Because them Texans better.
Get money.
They ain't got no running game.
Get money.
Their coach fucked up.
You don't like Travis Etienne? I think he's really good.
He is.
Oh, you don't like? I know why you don't like him. I know why you don't like him. Because he wore the Crush Orange. That's why you don't like him.
I think he
I
has
don't know
something
what
there.
that color is.
It has
It's
something
not
to do.
a personal thing with him. He is small. He's just small.
5'10",
That's it.
5'10",
Trevor
210
Lawrence?
is small. No, he's talking about Travis Etienne. So 5'10", 210 is small.
Oh,
Go ahead, look him up. Get your Twitter fingers going. Look him up. You know, you can tell when Troy looking something up because he turned to the side.
It says he's 216, right?
Yeah, he's
That's
not
because
small.
I got all these screens today, man. Stop
He's
judging me.
because he's not small.
He's 216. It won't tell me his height.
He's 5'10".
He is a scat back. He does not play big.
What do you mean? Okay, I would say he's not the most physical runner of the football. This is true. He's not gonna run over your team, but he is very effective. And if he hadn't had that injury his rookie season, because you got to think about it, he's really only going into his sophomore season right now. And this is somebody who had a great college career, lot of high hopes. You know who he can be? He can actually turn out. He can actually turn out to be better. Don't compare him to Joe Mixon. He could actually be better if put in the right situation than Alvin Kamara, because he's pretty much the same size as Alvin Kamara. Same type of runner of the football.
hey, got a guess.
Hey,
Welcome, Steve. Welcome.
I guess I guess it's a little bit late to the party.
All right.
Better late than never.
How you guys doing? Yeah, better late than never, as they say, right?
Yes, sir. I don't think we can see you right now.
We are definitely doing well. I want to thank you for.
Okay, there you go.
We are doing well. I'll go ahead and give everybody the background on how this whole thing came about. So if you don't know, I have a side gig. I drive Uber and Lyft. For some reason, I was on St. Pete Beach and picked up this gentleman's ride. And as he's talking, his friend keeps calling him Spielberg. And I'm like, why does he keep calling him Spielberg? And it just dawned. I was like, what's your last name? And he said, Beuerlein. And I went, oh my God, Steve Beuerlein is in the car. So me not thinking like, hey, why don't you get a picture or something? I'm like, hey, why don't you come on to the podcast? Because that's the only thing that I could think of.
It worked out perfectly. And I don't know how I don't know what it was that Alvin Miller.
I'm glad you were here, sir. Excuse me.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I think Troy is a little delayed. So like when you started talking, he thought it was like a space there.
Okay. Well,
I don't think he meant to cut you off.
No big deal at all. I'm probably the technology is probably bad on my side. And I apologize for that, but yeah, it was a weird deal. He kept my friend Alvin Miller, and we can talk about that a little bit later. But Alvin Miller was one of my wide receivers at Notre Dame, and he was actually in 1983. He was the USA Today, football player of the year. I mean, this guy was the #1 recruit in the country. He was 6'4", 220, and running about a 4.35 40 back in 1983 as a wide receiver. And as we told Troy in the car that day, he won the Missouri State track meet by himself. And that's the kind of athlete this guy was. And we were just talking Notre Dame, and he kept calling me Spielberg, and that was his nickname for me. And Troy finally just jumped in and said, wait a minute, what's your name? And then that just kind of opened up a whole new can of worms. So glad it worked out the way it did.
Super
Well, we
crazy.
thank you for coming on the show. Definitely, we do have some questions for you as a retired NFL quarterback. There's some things I gotta know. Some things I gotta know.
Give it to me.
Cause you played in the era where the quarterback was not protected.
Yes,
Y'all,
I
y'all,
did.
y'all were out there just like everybody else. It's you free game. Who
Yeah, I got
was
the battle scars to prove it too.
the scariest player or the person that concerned you the most through your career? Who did you have to game plan the most for?
Well, that's an easy one. When I was a gentleman by the terrorizing
Man,
NFL offenses at the time, and he literally single-handedly changed offensive blocking schemes because of his ability. There was no running back that could block Lawrence Taylor, and traditionally at that time, edge rushers were the responsibility of the running back most of the time. So we every team in the NFL that played against Lawrence Taylor knew that if you try to put a running back on him, your quarterback wasn't going to last very long. And so you had to slide your protection and a lot of times put a tight end in his face or a running back coming off motion, something else to get in his way to slow him down. And it wasn't that he hit it harder than anybody else. It was just that he was unblockable. He was too fast for the lineman to block, and he was too powerful for a running back to block. So you had to put both of those guys, or put two people to try to account for him almost every single time you try to throw the football. So LT, without a doubt, was a man.
Wow.
I got you.
Wow.
Man, because
I got a
I've always been a historian when it comes to football. So, like, everything that I've ever heard about Lawrence Taylor was he literally changed your game plan. If you didn't know where he was, it was going to be a long day for the whole offense, not just the quarterback.
No, he literally changed offensive football. I mean, we had to slide protection, which is now the most the most common, most necessary, most used pass protection in the NFL was created for him. You had to slide your protection to get in his face, and it revolutionized offensive football without a doubt.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Wow. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I grew up watching everything you guys did back then. And back then you played in an era where like a lot of the players that you played with would have some ridiculous amounts of salary. Who do you think that you played with if they played now?
Who of the guys that I played with would be the highest paid player of all the guys I played with now?
Yes.
Is that what you're asking?
Yes, because
Oh,
Trevor
well.
Lawrence just got $275 million, and for 5 years he has not done anything in the league yet. So
No.
the caliber of players that you guys that you play
Yeah.
with were light years ahead of that. So I'm just wondering,
Yeah.
like y'all were in
Well,
a salary desert compared to what they have now.
that's a good way to put it, and I agree with you 100%. It was a salary desert, but you look at the guys that were, kind of the guys that were the standard bearers for the NFL at that time as quarterbacks. It was guys like Joe Montana, Dan Marino, John Elway, Jim Kelly. Those guys are the names that really jump out to me. Troy Aikman, I played with him in Dallas. and he was just getting started. We got a ring together. I backed him up for a couple of years. That team was loaded. That was right as the Cowboys were just starting to make that first move back in the early mid 90s. And Emmett was just getting started. Michael Irvin was just getting started. We had a tight end by the name of Jay Novacek, who was, one of the original kind of H-back tight end player combination, guy that you could motion around, move around. He wasn't a great run blocker, but you could have him block the backside and run away from him. And then he was almost uncoverable for a linebacker or a safety. So he kind of revolutionized the tight end position. Those guys during that era. And that was, we talked about how that era, the quarterbacks, it was a different world for the quarterbacks. Quarterbacks got hit. You could hit them any way you wanted. They were told to take our head off, right? That was what they were paid to do, literally. But
Yeah.
for tight ends and receivers, it was a different game too, man. I'm telling you now, these tight ends used to literally get raped at the line of scrimmage. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, trying to get off the ball for a tight end, it was a talent in and of itself. And you had to try to create ways through motion to try to give these guys a way to get off the ball and up the field into the pass route, because you had safeties like, Ronnie Lott and Andre Waters and Steve Atwater and guys like that literally, and then you had linebackers too, guys like Bill Romanowski and Cornelius Bennett, and of course Lawrence Taylor, and all these kind of guys that, their job was to lock on that tight end, not let them get off the ball. And so you had to try to find ways to create plays and create space when they were allowed literally to hang all over those players in a way that, you don't see any of that kind of coverage anymore. So it was just a different world. It was harder to complete a pass.
Yes. Wow. Like I can imagine what Dan Marino contract would look like if he played now.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
Like
Well, he'd be like Aaron
it would
Rodgers, right? It'd be like Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, those guys. Although, Dan never got the Super Bowl ring.
Right.
So that was the one knock on him. But, they would have paid him big. There's no doubt about it.
Plus, if he played with the rules that they played now, oh my God, well, you couldn't touch him.
Right. You're right. You're right. I mean, back when I came in the league, I came in with the Raiders in '87, and the measuring stick for quarterbacks at that time. You can look. You guys have access to stats and everything. Look up the career stats for guys like Elway and Marino, and very few of them were above mid 50s in pass completion. The goal was to be above 50%. The top quarterbacks were in that 55 to 60% range at best. And now you see these guys. I mean, these guys are, if they're not completing 65% of their passes, they suck. And that's a direct reflection of what's happened with the rules. The pass interference rules, the contact rules on the outside, the free releases that tight ends get now, and how the safeties and linebackers are allowed to cover. It's a much different ball game and a lot easier to complete a pass.
And I think also that goes into the passing game starting to be an extension of the run game. With the swing passes and the short passes, just get the ball out the quarterback's hand quick. That also, increases quarterback completion percentage. Like, look at the way Eli Manning played the game. Early in his career, he was down the field, vertical, and towards the end, it was more check down. Let's get the ball out, just get the ball out. And a lot of that has to do with, like you said, the free releases. I can get the ball out quick. My running backs and tight ends aren't getting tackled off the line of scrimmage. So that became an extension of the run game.
Right. And all those bubble screens and all the different kind of ways now that you're getting the ball out to those receivers and running backs and all the hybrid guys that are out there now, trying to get the ball to them in space quickly with linemen coming out to block for them. You know, it is really hard to play defense in the NFL today because all the rules are against them. You know, they can't do the things that the game was initially invented and created to do. Now, all the rule changes for the most part have been in the interest of player safety. So that's a good thing, right? Your guys aren't getting hit and hurt the way that they used to, and careers are longer. But it's a much different ball game, and it's really not fair to compare this era to that era or the era before because the game is so different. You know, it's such a different game now.
I agree.
Yeah. But it's still a great game. You know,
Oh, absolutely.
Still love watching.
The greatest game on earth.
So I have a Raider question. I know there is an Al Davis story out there that nobody knows.
Oh man. Oh. Yeah, there
What's
is.
What's an Al Davis story you can share?
Well, let's see. I got a bunch of them because you know I went through a very difficult period there with him. You know, at the time, everybody knew what Marcus Allen was going through at the time with Al Davis. You know, Al refused to pay Marcus what he was worth, and he was without a doubt regarded as maybe the best football player ever to play the game at that time, best offensive player, but without a doubt the best running back in football. And yet Al Davis was not utilizing him in ways that everybody in the league knew that he should have been. It was a personal thing. You know, Al, the story goes that Al did not want Marcus getting bigger than the Raiders. And he was worried about that and was trying to keep Marcus, you know, from being as great as. Now, it sounds so contradictory, too, when you're talking about a guy whose mantra was, you know, just win, baby, commitment to excellence, all that kind of stuff. And why would you hold back your team and one of the greatest players ever play the game in that way? Nobody could ever figure it out. But, you know, there was no free agency back then. He just kept offering Marcus the same low ball contract every year. And Marcus held out a couple times. There's nothing he could do about it. And you know, eventually Al drafted Bo Jackson, same year that I was drafted. So you had Bo in the backfield with Marcus too. And so Marcus wasn't allowed to really be the factor that he could have been during those years. And, you know, still a Hall of Famer, but we'll never know how great Marcus Allen could have been because of those years that Al Davis kind of buried him. But a personal story during that same time, you know, I was drafted in the 4th round in '87, and Al Davis. So the second year, my second year in the league, '88, Mike Shanahan became our head coach, and he really believed in me. He wanted me to be the quarterback. He named me the starting quarterback going into the season. After my rookie year, I was put on injured reserve. You know, they kind of made up an injury. They redshirted me, basically, is what they did my rookie year. And Shanahan comes in my second year, and he says, you know, this kid can play. And Al Davis, for whatever reason, didn't think I could get the job done. And he went out and made a trade for Jay Schrader. He traded away the best offensive lineman in football, Jim Lachey, left tackle, who went on to have a Hall of Fame career, to bring in Jay Schrader. And so for the next couple of years, you know, Shanahan got fired because he wanted me. Al Davis wanted Jay Schrader. And it went back and forth, Jay Schrader and me. And, you know, the team and the coaches all felt that I should have been the guy, but Al Davis wanted Jay Schrader. And so my 4th year in the league, I finished both that second year, '88, and the third year, '89, as a starting quarterback. But every offseason, it would go back to Jay because Al Davis wanted Jay to be the starter. Well, after the '89 season, I kind of ended that season as a starter. Everybody kind of knew that it was my job, but I had no contract. and there was no free agency. So Al Davis made me an offer that he knew I couldn't take to keep me out of camp, to keep me held out, and so Jay could get that starting position. And I'll never forget. And I will not use the language that Al Davis used when he called me up. Though I was holding out, and I don't know if you guys are okay with language or not on the podcast, but you have to tell me. Is it kind of open as far as that goes? Is it open? We can give it. Okay.
Yes, sir. Say how.
All right.
Say how you feel.
Yeah, we're fine.
Let it out.
So Al Davis had a very unique way of talking, and everybody that ever played for him, there were a lot of F-bombs in there, a lot of F-bombs. And he used to kind of do this weird things with his lips. And I remember he called me during my holdout, and he said, "I'd like to speak to Steve Beuerlein, please." And he's like making this little lip smacking sound. And I said, "Yeah, this is Steve Beuerlein." He goes, "This is Mr. Al Davis of the Los Angeles Raiders. I'd like to speak to Steve Beuerlein, please." And I said, "Yes, Mr. Davis, it's me." And there was a pause on the other side, and he just all of a sudden blurts out, he says, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I said, "Excuse me? What are you talking about? What do you mean, what am I doing?" He goes, "What the fuck are you doing, Stevie?" And I said, "Mr. Davis, I'm just trying to get a fair contract, man." He goes, "You're fucking killing yourself, baby. You're fucking killing yourself." And I said, "What are you talking about? You're making me an offer that you're not even paying me like a backup quarterback in the NFL." And he goes, "Fuck." He goes, what the fuck have you done?" And I said, what do you mean, what have I done?" He goes, "Oh, you haven't driven the fucking car." And I said, "What?" He said, "You haven't driven the car." And I said, "Mr. Davis, I don't know what you're talking about. When I go out and play, I play hard. We're productive. We're winning." He goes, "Oh, fuck. You're killing yourself, baby." And that was the end of the conversation. So he hung up on me. And that truly happened just the way I told you. And I'll never forget it. And everybody that played for him during those years knows exactly when you start talking like that, that's the way he talked. And it was pretty amazing.
You sound like a bully.
Well, I mean, he was. I mean, it was his team. He was in his defense. And in his defense, I will say this: he was extremely loyal to the players that he loved, and that holds true to this very day. And I always respected him for that, and the fact that I really do think that he was obsessed with winning and the Raider way and all of that stuff. But there were some things that he did during those years that were contradictory to what was probably in the best interest of the team. Even though in his world it made perfect sense, it didn't make a lot of sense to anybody else. And it was a crazy era for the Raiders at that time, for sure. And obviously it didn't get better until Gruden got there in the late 90s, and then that kind of fell apart pretty quickly as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
They end up.
But don't get me in trouble now with the verbatim stuff. I hope that comes across okay.
Hey,
No,
you can never
you're
be
good.
hurt by the truth. You can
That's
never
it.
be hurt by the truth.
That's the truth, and those were direct quotes. So I'm a Notre Dame guy. I got that little Catholic guilt after saying those words on the podcast. So, but it happened. So it was a quote. So we're good.
Wow.
We're good as far as that goes.
Trey, you still good about your Raiders, Trey?
I take solace in knowing that Al Davis got drafted from the. You leave my Raiders alone, Marlo.
I didn't catch that.
Oh, man. So I
It's
take
kinda-
solace in the fact that Al Davis got draft picks from the Bucks for John Gruden. That was
right.
a stroke of genius.
yeah. I ain't
Yeah.
never seen a coach get
Wait, and $1
traded.
million. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I'd never seen a coach get traded before or after.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Now what?
maybe not until did Sean Payton kind of get traded a couple years ago or last year to Denver, but I don't know if that was actually considered a trade, but it never happened before like that. No, you're
Yeah,
right.
not like that.
No.
And
Yeah.
and to the Raiders, what do we learn? Because John Gruden won a Super Bowl from that trade for Tampa.
Yes, he
So
did.
I mean, it was
who won that?
Tony Dungy. It was Tony Dungy team, but yeah.
Who won that? Who won that trade?
Yeah. Who got the Lombardi? Right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So I mean, there are so many, all the different places that I
I am
was.
big on behavior.
There's so many stories, man.
Wow.
Yes, sir. Man, I have so many questions. I don't want to be the question hog.
I want to ask Dallas Cowboy stories, but I don't.
Yes, tell us about Jerry Jones, please.
Well,
TP, go ahead.
Yeah, Jerry, I don't have any stories like that. I can promise you that. But those days with the Cowboys, that was very early in the run. With Jerry Jones, I got there. I think it was year 3, and there was still a lot of bitterness in Dallas about the Jimmy Johnson, Tom Landry situation. A lot of the loyal Cowboys fans were still hurting about how the Landry thing went down and this Jimmy Johnson guy coming in. They went 1-15 the first year, then they went 8-8 the second year, and Aikman was struggling at that time, and there were a lot of people that didn't really believe that this was going to be able to work itself out, and all of a sudden things started happening. And, I think one of the things that now had just in this past year has been rebuilt was the connection between Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones. Because that's, I was only there for 91 and 92. So the first Super Bowl season. And there was no question in the players' minds who ran the show. It was it was Jimmy Johnson that ran the show. I mean, it was his team. He was calling all the shots. He was, pulling all the levers, making all the decisions, and the team got good real quick and went on to do what they did. They won 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. But I think that there was a little bit of a power struggle between Jimmy and Jerry, and I think Jerry wanted a little bit more of the credit, and Jimmy didn't feel like he was being respected. And whatever happened behind the scenes, who knows? But Jimmy left and took his show to Miami, and never got it figured out down in Miami like they did in Dallas. And so you could say, well, maybe that was because the combination of Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones might have been what gave the Cowboys that success. But the Cowboys haven't had anything close to that kind of success since. But I do think if Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones could have coexisted, for another 6-7 years, it could have been a run like the Patriots with Belichick and Brady. I mean, it could have been one of those kind of stories. So, egos get in the way sometimes. Who was at fault? Who knows? All I know is that it was a great time living in Dallas. It was a great time to be a Cowboy when I was out there. So we had a lot of fun.
Well, speaking of egos, do you think that it probably would have been 4-4 if they would have played you instead of putting Aikman back in after he got hurt and you had one of them playoff games?
That's a question we'll never know, and I appreciate the question. And there are people that there have actually been articles written and books out there about that era for the Cowboys, where some people speculate that had I been given that opportunity, who know, could it have gone the same way? Would it have been better? Would it have been worse? There's no way to know. I always felt like I could get it done on the right team in the right situation, but I would never minimize how great Troy Aikman was, and he's a good friend of mine, and he was the perfect man, pulling the trigger for those teams, and he was a 3-time Super Bowl champion, and you cannot question the results of that run. That was a great football team, and they had everything working on the right, working in unison, and the defense was playing great coaches. I mean, a lot of great coaches on that team during those years. And I would have loved to have had a chance because, you play at that level, you think you can get the job done. But I just never found myself in a situation that was as strong as that situation. So, we'll never know.
Very good.
I know what I think, though.
One of the things that we take One of the things we take for granted is a quarterback that has played a long time in the NFL. They don't get credit if they're not everyday starters. It takes a lot of work to be an NFL quarterback for longer than 5 years. And I don't think people actually understand what it took to keep your body in shape, to keep your mind ready, to be ready in case something happened.
Yeah. Everybody thinks being the backup quarterback's the best job in the world, right? Can you hear me? We good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But everybody thinks that being a backup quarterback is the best job in the world, and it is until you have to play, and then then you got to step in like you've had all the reps and like you have been playing, and it doesn't matter that you haven't played in 6, 8, 10, 12, maybe a year since your last action. I mean, heck, some of these guys, these backup quarterbacks, can make a ton of money and not play it down for 2, 3 consecutive years. But back in those days, obviously, I think the turnover was a little bit more quick. The careers weren't as long because of the way the quarterbacks were beaten on and the kind of hits that they took. And the bottom line is that, and it still works out that way today too, that when you do get your number called, when it's time to go out and play, it's a very short leash. You're not going to get 3 or 4 games to kind of figure it out. You're gonna have to come into that game, and if you struggle and don't show that you can handle it and move the football team, they're going to start looking immediately for who's next. And that next game you'll probably be the starter. If you don't produce, you can guarantee that second start is probably going to go to somebody else. So you have to take advantage of your opportunities. You have to show that you're capable, that you can be ready to go on a moment's notice, that you're studying, that you're preparing, and that you're also, you got the leadership ability to be able to step in that huddle and command that respect from your teammates. Because you guys know how it is. I mean, you step into a huddle, if you don't believe in yourself, there's no way those other 10 guys are going to believe in you. So you got to step in with the presence and with the confidence that says, hey, I got this. And it can't be fake. It's got to be real. And the coaches see it, the players see it, and the results take care of themselves if you have that ability. And fortunately for me, the confidence thing, the leadership thing, and being a good teammate and always kind of making sure that I was doing the things I needed to do to be ready, always gave me that next opportunity.
Nice.
That's awesome.
So I'm a little younger than these other guys. I don't remember your early career, but I did get to see you play live when you were with Carolina, and I think that's when you had your best season.
Yes.
Tell me about that team. Tell me about the Carolina Panthers in the late '90s.
Yeah. There was a lot. There's so many different ways to take this. My career was so many different ups and downs along the way. And when I got to Carolina in '96, I was the first pick in the expansion draft the year before by the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yep.
And, that turned out to be one of those nightmare situations. Tom Coughlin, who I think is a great football coach, but, I will just say that, he made a lot of promises to me before I agreed to go to Jacksonville that meant absolutely nothing. I mean, as soon as I got there, I knew that I had been, I don't want to say lied to, but I had been, we'll just say misled. And so I had 1 year in Jacksonville. Then I got, I thought my career might be over at that point because did not work out. Fortunately for me, the Carolina Panthers really wanted me the year before in the expansion draft, but they didn't have the first pick. The Jaguars got the first pick. And so the Panthers were still very interested in me. And, Kerry Collins was there, but they weren't sure what they had in Kerry Collins. And we all know the struggles that Kerry had early in his career, just trying to, from a maturity standpoint and from a decision-making standpoint, from, making good decisions both on and off the football field. He got himself into some situations. And, for me, in '98, my third season with the Panthers, 4 games into that season, Kerry just literally quit. Walked in, we were 0-4. He walked in and told Dom Capers, our coach, he just said, "I quit. I'm not playing anymore." And, I'll never forget that meeting, coming in that morning. Dom Capers said, "Steve, I need to talk to you." And I said, "Okay." I walk into his office and he says, "Kerry just quit. So you are now our quarterback." And I was like, "Okay, here we go." And we fought our butts off that first year, '98, just to get back to competitive. I think we went to 0-7, but I think we won 4 of our last 9 games. So we ended up, I think, 4 and I think we were 4-12 is what we ended up that year. But we were, by the end of the season, we looked like a football team. We were playing good football, and the Panthers rewarded me with a better contract. Still was not a real starter type of contract, but it was a new contract for me, kind of a commitment from them. And we went into the '99 season with, nobody expected us to put up the numbers that we put up. I did it with guys that people had not heard of really to that point. Ray Caruth was our starting wide receiver. You guys know what happened with Ray Caruth.
Yeah.
That year was when he had his girlfriend killed. That was three games into the season, and he was our starting, Z receiver. Well, the guy that stepped in for him was a guy by the name of Patrick Jeffers, who no one had ever heard of. In the last 12 games of that season, Patrick Jeffers scored 12 touchdowns and went for over 1,200 yards in 12 games. We had Muhsin Muhammad, who you guys all remember. Muhsin Muhammad was in his second year. No one really knew what he had at that point. He was a second-round draft choice out of Michigan State. Well, he and I went to the Pro Bowl together that year. Moose had, I think, 102 catches or something like that year, and 8 or 9 touchdowns. Was our obvious number one wide receiver. But then we had a tight end by the name of Wesley Walls, who you guys probably remember. Wesley was a great tight end, and But we went into that season with no expectations at all. And it was George Seifert's first year. He came in, he had all control of personnel, and he basically told me that I was on a short leash when the season started. I knew he was waiting for me to screw up, and he was going to, go to his backup, who was a guy by the name of Jeff Lewis, who I don't expect you to know who Jeff Lewis is because Jeff never really came through when the Panthers let me go. It became Chris Winkie who came in and played after the Panthers let me go, and they went 1-15. That's a whole other story. But that 99 season, we took off. We were in a shootout every week. Turns out, I ended up leading the NFL in passing that year, and I did. And that was, by the way, that was the year that Kurt Warner broke out. He won the NFL MVP and the Super Bowl MVP, but he did not lead the league in passing. That was me. And he was right behind me, and then he was number 1 in touchdowns, and I was number 2 in touchdowns. But I want to, this spells out the difference in the game during that era, pre-2000, and what it is today. That year in 1999, Kurt Warner and I both threw for over 4,000 yards and over 30 touchdowns. Now, I want you to think about this. We were the 11th and 12th guys in the history of the NFL to do that. Okay? There were only 10 guys before us. Now, a couple of them, Steve Young, I think Marino maybe, had done it a couple of times.
Dan
we
Fouts.
were the 11th. Dan Fouts did it, I'm sure, yes, exactly. But we were the 11th and 12th guys in the history of the league to do that. So it was a big deal. Now you see, 8 or 9 guys a year doing it. They're going over now. The number is 5,000. Who's going to get to 5,000? And but 4,000 at that time was what 5,000 is today. And so it was a unbelievable year. George Seifert did not get to replace me that year because we just kept putting up numbers, and we stayed in the playoff hunt. We missed it by a game, but we were a scrappy team. We didn't have a lot of talent on that team. He didn't put any money in the offensive line. We didn't put any money into the defense. We were still trying to figure things out, and but we played hard, and we almost got it done, almost got to the playoffs. But as you know, that's not what you got to find a way to get it done, and we didn't. And then the next year, 2000, I played every game, didn't miss a snap. But I lost Wesley Walls early in that season. I lost Patrick Jeffers to knee injuries. They were out for pretty much the whole year, and that was 24 touchdowns between them. And so it's hard to kind of make up 24 touchdowns, and then George Seifert let me go. So, but that 99 season though, it was an unbelievable run, and I got to validate myself as a quarterback that could play at the highest level, which was pretty cool.
Yeah. And that's something that you can hold on to forever. And I think about it, it's like, man, had you been in the same situations as some of these other quarterbacks with talent around them, like the Jim Kellys, the Steve Youngs, what that could have done for you. Because it seemed like you were always kind of put in this situation where you're on a short leash and there's not a lot of talent around you.
Well, I would obviously not say it that way because I loved all my teammates, and we fought hard, and they knew what they had in me. I was going to go to war with them every week. But I think as a if you're evaluating the teams that I played for and the time that I was there, it was always during a time of transition. There was always either a new coach coming in that wanted me to come in, or I get there and the other coach was on his way out. And I could give you all kinds of examples, but I had 10 head coaches in my first 14 years in the NFL. So, you think about that number, that's a lot of change, and a lot of new systems and a lot of moving pieces and new players coming in and players going, and 6 different teams. And so, the stability is the thing that as a quarterback, that's what you always crave. You want to be in a stable situation with a a good core team around you and a system that's not going to change, every year or every couple of years, where you can grow in that system and really start to speak that language, and your teammates are the same guys around you, and you kind of build those bonds and that chemistry. That's what the great teams do. So, I never really had that opportunity, but, I still found a way to get 17 years out of it. And, that was a pretty big number back at that time.
Absolutely.
That's unheard of. A quarterback making it 17 years in the NFL.
During that time.
That's unheard of.
During that time, yeah. Yeah.
You must have been a really good ducker.
I was about to say, Steve Beuerlein knew how to get out the way.
We talked a lot.
Let me tell you something. Steve Beuerlein did not move very well. Steve Beuerlein knew how to take a hit. That's what I did not. There's no doubt I did not have a glass chin. I could stand in there and take it. And I took a lot of pride in being tough. And as far as the speed goes, Lou Holtz, who I'm still very close to, he still tells his story all the time whenever he's out speaking. I'm kind of his punching bag as far as the jokes go. He says, hey, if Steve Beuerlein got into a race with a pregnant woman, he would come in third every time. So, I'm like, Coach, we get the point, man. I get the point. So,
wow.
Yeah. But the reason I was able to, play at the NFL level was because I did know how to stand in that pocket, and I could stare it down, with the guy coming full speed and ready to rip my head off, because they could take your head off back in those days. I stood strong, and I would hold that ball and take the hit as I was letting it go. And I've had, as I was telling Troy, I've had both hips replaced and a knee replaced, and I had 20 surgeries during my career. But most of those surgeries were after the season. So I played through a lot of injuries that needed to be surgically repaired after the season. I'm talking about, shoulders that were reconstructed. Everybody was talking about, Baker Mayfield's shoulder a couple years ago. Well, my left shoulder, the 2000 season, I played through the whole season with a shoulder that was as bad, if not worse, than his, because I didn't want to come off the field, and the coaches knew that I was going to battle and find a way to compete and keep us in the hunt. If there was any way to do it, I was going to find a way to do it. Tore both of the ligament and the tendon in my throwing elbow, and had 2 surgeries to kind of reconstruct my elbow after that. But I did not get knocked out of many games, and unfortunately, I was put on injured reserve one time. That was my last year in the NFL. I got this pinky that's a little bit crooked. When I got slammed into the turf in Minnesota in my 17th year, and my pinky hit the ground first with a defensive end on my back. And so he drove me into the ground. My pinky just shattered and snapped. And that was the last play of my career. So I made it through my whole career, never got knocked out of a game. And then I get knocked out of a game, my last game, with a freaking pinky. So that's how it all comes down, man.
I've broken my pinky too. And it hurts more than people think it does.
Well, I can tell you this one had, 7 screws and a plate put in it. And it was splintered vertically and then snapped horizontally. So, it was ugly. But fortunately for me, I think I was in shock when it happened. Here's the I could show you the picture. Troy, I'll send it to you. There's a picture of it where I got up and I was kind of looking at my finger like, what the heck is that? And my finger was pointing the other way. And of course, the trainers come out on the field, and what do you think they think? They think it's dislocated, and so they start yanking on it, pulling on, trying to pop it back into place. And the picture that I'm going to send you, Troy, it shows a picture of the trainer pulling on my finger, and I'm just in agony, just screaming, just yanking on it. And I'll never forget his quote. He says, "It's not popping back in." And I said, "No shit, it's not popping back in." So that was it. That was it for me.
Man,
Wow. That's
But
pretty
it was a good run. Yeah.
definitely had a good run. Longer than
No
most, because NFL
Yeah.
stands for not for long. I think the
That's right.
average career is 3 years.
Yeah, I think three and a half, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No doubt.
Wow.
And that's because a lot of guys never make it, right? I mean, you got a lot of 1 and 2 year guys, and then of course everything else comes into play after that. The injuries and disappointments. A lot of guys that get drafted high that don't materialize after that first 3 or 4 years. All of a sudden they're gone. So you have to produce at that level in any sport, and they'll get rid of you. They'll get rid of you quick. I'll tell you this. I'll make a couple predictions for you guys though this year. And Troy, I don't know if we talked about this in the car that day or not, but I will say this. I think that I like Jalen Daniels as the Rookie of the Year this year, and I really do like. I covered him a lot. I do radio for Compass Media, and I've done a lot of LSU games, do a lot of SEC games over the last few years, and the jump that I saw from him, the previous year to this past year, was night and day. He was a good coordinator. Mike Denbrock, who Notre Dame now has, they stole him from LSU, but he looked like an NFL quarterback to me, who could also kill you with his legs, obviously.
Yeah.
But I mean, his presence in the pocket, his standing in there, and the little subtle movements that a quarterback has to do to buy time, and instead of doing what a lot of athletic quarterbacks do, when it's not there on time, their head comes down and they take off looking for somewhere to run. Jalen, I think this past year showed that he could buy that extra time, keep his eyes down the field, and still deliver that ball accurately down the field, which you have to do in the NFL if you want to win. You got to be able to make plays from the pocket. You have to have mobility nowadays too, obviously, but if you want to win a championship, you got to be able to make plays in the pocket. And
Absolutely.
I saw him get better and better this year. I saw him against Mississippi State, where he was literally unstoppable. And then I saw him against Alabama in Tuscaloosa, where he got beat up pretty good that game. But he showed me some toughness and some big playability. I really like him. I think he's going to be the Rookie of the Year. And then the other thing, I think Justin Fields is going to end up coming back and making the Bears regret giving him up. I think he's going to do great down in Pittsburgh. I thought the Bears should have traded that pick, and they could have used that capital from trading that pick to get their team solid and ready to be a competitive team in the NFC. And you give Justin Fields one more chance, one more year to kind of grow with it with a real team around him. And I think he steps up and shows you he could do it. And if he doesn't, you get rid of him after this coming year. And now you got a team ready for whoever you want to bring in as your next quarterback, whether it's free agency or drafting somebody. But I think the Bears, by just picking up Caleb Williams, who I like, but I've still got some questions about him as a leader. And from that perspective, you got this franchise quarterback with basically the same team. They maybe improved themselves in some small ways, but imagine what they would have gotten for that first pick and how they could have really made that team, I think, a good football team for whoever that quarterback of the future is going to be. So those are two things I think that you can quote me on. We'll see if those things end up coming true or not.
I got one more question since we're talking NFL quarterbacks. How do
Yeah.
you feel about Lamar Jackson? I
Uh,
got
Go ahead.
well, I just want to know, like, from your standpoint, like, because like you said, if you can't beat teams from the pocket, you're not gonna be a championship quarterback. How do you feel about Lamar? He's won 2 MVPs, but
Hmm.
only three playoff games total? Two or three playoff games total?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if it's three. I think it's two, but it may be three, but I'm not sure. Uh, I like Lamar. I always have, and I like the way that he developed. Injuries have hurt him a couple times late in the season, so he's obviously got to figure out how to make sure that he's healthy going into the playoffs, and that means learning how to avoid hits as much as he possibly can. And I think he's getting better as far as that goes too. I really, they made some moves with their wide receivers this year. I can't remember exactly what they did. Maybe you guys can help me, but I do think that they did need to improve and get another wide receiver threat. I think they drafted somebody this year. It's escaping me right now. But I think if you put those extra weapons and if you keep Mark Andrews healthy, because he's got a great chemistry with Mark Andrews, and he knows. I mean, he talks. Lamar talks. And when you hear him talk about what it's going to take to win a championship, he knows he's got to stand in that pocket and make throws. I've heard him say it, and he thinks he's that guy. Now he's got to show it. He's got to step up and show it. I really have been impressed with how he has developed and evolved in terms of as an overall quarterback, going through his progressions, going through his reads. I think he can do it, and I think they now have the pieces in place. But there's a lot of pressure on him now, and he's got to find a way to get it done here in the next year or two. Otherwise, it's going to get a lot harder for him. You guys know how that is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Clock is ticking.
Yeah, yeah. They paid him. He got his money, and now he's got to show he can get it done. And they're trying to make the moves. He's in a great system. That John Harbaugh, I think, is probably at the top of the list as far as coaches that NFL players would love to go play for. If he's not number one, he's number two. And there's a reason why he's been there as long as he has and the success he's had. It's a great organization. They're trying to make it as strong as they possibly can because they know they got someone special in Lamar, and now he's got to show he is that guy that can get it done.
Yeah,
So
they
I think
got
what you're referring to, they brought in Derrick Henry. They still got the same receivers besides
They,
Nelson Aguilar, but they still have Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman. But they
yeah,
went and got Derrick Henry.
didn't they draft somebody pretty high too? I
believe
thought they did.
so.
I saw they got somebody.
They
that,
draft,
Tylen Wallace.
they drafted Devontae.
Yeah, what
Devontae
round was
Walker.
that?
I have to look it up.
They drafted Devontae Walker from North Carolina.
In
Yeah,
the
what
fourth
round
round.
was that?
Fourth round.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
He's the young guy that I was thinking of because I know a lot of people think he's going to be a guy that can
Fourth
take
round.
the top off. Yeah. I thought they brought in somebody else in free agency. Maybe I'm wrong. But Zay Flowers obviously is legit. Bateman has to step up. This is a year that he has to step up and start showing that he can be that number two guy at least. Aguilar is a red zone guy, kind of possession guy. But they've got plenty of weapons. I mean, Lamar.
They also have
gets done.
maturity issues.
Maturity issues.
Yeah, we saw them kind of fall apart in that Chiefs game.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that was Zay, right?
There was
and
Roquan.
Yeah, Roquan, exactly, no doubt.
I didn't.
Zay Zay was just, Zay's was effort, trying to make play, got a little careless with the ball. And I think he got a little overly emotional in one situation.
Yeah.
He got an unsportsmanlike conduct or something? Yeah. So there was some bad decisions. No doubt about that. So they'll live and learn. I mean, a guy like Zay Flowers, you want him to play with that emotion, obviously. That's one of the things that makes him great. So, but he won't do those things. He won't make those mistakes again.
You know, it was just kind of weird to see from a Harbaugh coach team too, because we had never seen that in the history of him coaching, that many personal fouls in a playoff game, in any game for that matter.
Now, I will tell you, I think wasn't there a really questionable passer that game as well? It was Mahomes. It was a Chiefs game, right?
Yeah.
Was it the Chiefs game? Yeah. I thought, we could sit here and debate all this stuff, but I have to go back and look at it again. But I thought there was really questionable, roughing the passer, and there was a couple of penalties that I thought were, really, really questionable at that point in the ball game. That one, it wasn't KC was third and forever, and that was a penalty on Roquan, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And they got a first down.
They got a first down and went down and took the game. That's right.
Yep.
So I mean, you can't make those mistakes, but I do think that there were a couple of calls that I thought were really questionable calls that went against Baltimore that really had an impact on that game. So they're right there. I mean, and Lamar did not play well in that game. That I remember he has to step up and play better next time around, because they ain't going to do it if he's not playing at a high level. We all know that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You got anything else for him, Marlo?
Well,
no,
it has been. Well, it's definitely been an enjoyable experience, because I have been looking forward to this all week, absolutely all week. I got my Al Davis story, so this is something I've been looking forward to all week. Oh, we just lost him. Well, let's see if he's. I think he's already back. There he is. But this has been probably my most enjoyable moment waiting on this interview. Again, Marlo knows how I feel about the Raiders. And this was, I don't care what anybody else says. It keeps dropping it. Hold on. He's there. It's the software keeps dropping. I'm sorry about that. It has been my most enjoyable podcast, because I've been kind of waiting on this for a while. The Raider geek in me has been absolutely excited for this interview. Normally we have our weekly stats.
I think the delay is hurting right now.
Delay is killing us.
Well,
listen,
my delay is crazy. I apologize.
I'll make it easy on you guys. I got a flight I need to catch anyway right now. I'm coming back your way. I'm coming back to Tampa actually tonight for a wedding this weekend. So I've got to get myself to LAX, so I'm going to miss that flight. So maybe we can connect, Troy. I don't know if we can connect out there or not this weekend. I've got a bunch of things I'm committed to, but it'd be great to catch up, have a beer, whatever. So I got to run, though.
Thank you for coming out. That's awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming to the
Thank you.
podcast.
You got it, guys. Anytime. Take care. We'll see you.
Yes,
All
sir.
right.
All right.
That was super cool.
That was great.
Well, I think, oh man, you know, it is, you get a lot of things in life, and a lot of times you get blessed. And this was a blessing. This was, I'm not going to take it any other way, but that was a blessing to have Steve Beuerlein come on to the show. Shout out to Danny Wright, communications manager. She made sure that he got in contact. We got everything away and got him on the show. So shout out to Danny. Marlo, man, what you got this week? What you got this week? We'll go ahead and do it. What you got this week?
I'm gonna keep it short and simple. We are coming into Olympic season. We got Olympic trials coming up real soon. I'm really interested to see if a lot of these athletes live up to the hype. You know, at Olympic trials, if you ain't in the top 3, you at the house. So it's very interesting to see them put it all together. I know seems like a long track season this year, but all the Olympic years are like that. But I'm really, really interested to see what product the U.S. put on the track, because we have some burners. We have some absolute burners out there, so it's going to be interesting. So let's go, Olympians! Let's go.
USA! USA! TP, what you got for us?
I mean, just like, piggyback off of what Marlo was talking about, this is a great time. Summer Olympics is the Olympics that, I would prefer to watch. I'm not, too keen on the ice and the curling, and all that, and the bobsled. And I'm not into that. I like to see the sprinters. I like to see the USA basketball team put in work. And again, I do love the addition of Tyrese Halliburton. I know people thought Kyrie got snubbed. I don't think so. I think he fits what that team was trying to do. As far as that, there are a lot of sports involved with the Summer Olympics. This is the big one. So if you don't like just watching the sprinting or the swimming or the gymnastics, there are other things. Boxing is one of them. There is so many things that you can get involved with when it comes to the Summer Olympics. Find something that you like. Everybody has a different preference, but there is something for everybody. If you like sports at all, I mean, you listening to us, so you gotta like sports to some capacity. Find you something you like when it comes to the Olympics. But that's my advice to y'all. I appreciate Steve Beuerlein for coming on the show. I got to talk to a actual NFL quarterback. Got some great insight, and he pretty much hit it right on the nail when it come to LT, because I always felt like that, and hearing it from him just solidifies every thought that I ever had that I did not want to play against that man. He was he played the game the way that it was supposed to be played, which is aggressive and under control at the same time. It might seem out of control, but he knew what he was doing. And there was a reason teams had to prepare for him. And like what he was saying was that he revolutionized the game. The way the game is played today is still reminiscent of how they had to account for him when he was at his height. And that's what we talk about, players that transcend eras. He could play today and still be one of the top 5, if not still the best player in the NFL, just because of how he played the game. But I appreciate Steve Beuerlein for coming on and sharing his insight and his experiences that he had throughout his career in the NFL. But that's my time for y'all. Same time next week, man. TP.
So, man, this is a lot of stuff is in front and behind. I am blessed to be on the show every week with two amazing dudes. Have additional scenes. We are doing shows with other podcasts. It is a blessing because we've done this for a very long time. Just the joy of talk shit to Marlo books. And Marlo be able to talk about my Raiders. Like we've to see the channel grow and me grow into accepting that we are media. Maybe we need to start doing the interviews and start doing some of the stories that kind of make people want to think. So I want to thank for everyone that come to the podcast to listen, for the people behind the scenes, Danny Wright, my family, like everybody behind the scenes. I want to thank y'all. We will have a full month schedule coming up for you. The next show next week is going to be college. Something to talk about. Get this out there. Try and get other people's. But again, as always, like, subscribe, get your notifications because we will be doing Tuesdays and Thursdays. The basketball podcast on Tuesdays at 8:30. The Madness Basketball Podcast. And we gather at 8 Eastern time. Now.